Dudes with Brews on a Porch presents to you another edition of Strange Brews, Conspiracies, Murder, Ghost Stories, Aliens. They're all coming to get you, my dears.
Craft brews and casual conversations. Spooky month is once again upon us, and we are going to do our best, our damnedest, our hardest to keep it with the strange brew things and not talk about any other personal matters about anything at all. For you, for me, strictly paranormal and Packers.
Yeah, we're all business.
All
and Packers.
business. All business. Rob just gave me the business about his beer. He drank Dankster Squad from RIIP Beer Company. Mosaic and Simcoe form a special unit whose mission is to take down your taste buds. The mob of hops dominates the malt base with bright flavors of guava, nectarine, and super dank aromatic. So it's supposed to be like aromatic. Aromatic? I don't know how you say it. 7% ABV. It says 0 on the IBUs, but it is in IPA. So yeah, that'd be bitter.
It had some bitterness to it.
Okay. It was good.
We'll get into that later. But I also drank Bomb Atomically by Monkish Brewing, which is a double dry hop, double India pale ale.
All right.
I just got a taster of that from a guy who brought it in a can and handed out to himself, myself, and the bartenders.
Nice.
It looks like a hazy. It's like a milky, real milky, soft colored beer. I love the look of that kind of beer, and
Yeah.
it was really smooth for a double dry hop.
Nice. I'm drinking Bad Weather Brewing Company from Minnesota. Their Immortal Toast. So it is an infused white stout, as they say. It says white, golden, or pale stout is predominantly a blonde or golden ale of low to moderate alcohol strength that also exhibits traditional stout flavors, such as coffee and chocolate. On the can, it says freshly ground coffee pairs with chocolate and vanilla beans for an intensely rich flavor, made from a rediscovered recipe designed by their co-founder's father, Greg Carpenter. So we now brew it in his memory. Raise your glass to him and those gone, but not forgotten. It is 7.5 ABV, and it does look like an ale, but it has some subtle stout tastiness to it. I kind of like it more than a regular stout because it doesn't have like that bold stout flavor. It's got a good blend. It's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like the look of it. It's got a little reddish hue to it.
Yeah, a little bit. That golden hue kind of to it, and then it's got the coffee taste to it. Oddly enough, Rob, my ex-wife bought these beers for me.
Oh, interesting.
She's working in Minnesota currently, and she brought this for me. It may or may not be poison.
I thought say she was working on being a better ex-wife.
Oh, well, I guess because she brought it, I guess that makes it.
Yeah, because I mean,
I don't know.
I think we could all learn from that kind of gesture in our divorcee situations. Bring a beer.
Yeah.
You drop off the kids, bring a beer.
Yeah. So no, that was nice of her to do. She didn't have to. I didn't ask for it. She just brought it. So, kudos to her for doing that. Okay. So Strange Brew Month. It's October, fresh into October. We're ready for it. We're gonna talk about something that Rob might have some experience with, based off your old living quarters. No longer your current quarters. Is it nice to be away from haunted things in your living space?
You know, it's a little more lonely, but I got roommates now.
Yeah. You just hear them screaming agony.
Yeah, I mean, they're not as subtle. Like when I talk to them, they respond. I don't have to look for a picture askew, and right. I go, "Oh, that was that picture being askew must mean that you're okay with me sleeping on the couch."
Yeah. So we're going to talk about stone tape theory. So that's kind of it's a theory in which ghosts are more residual than not residual. So residual meaning they're going through a routine that they previously went through when they were alive, when the beings were alive. Now they're gone, and that energy is captured into stone, which can be found in graveyards. It can be found a lot of times in homes. So they think like even like going into a wall, and it's just being it's recorded onto the rocks, and other items, and then replayed under certain conditions. So this was just a theory that was kind of developed in the 19th century. Charles Babbage,
Babbage, yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
you know that guy?
big player.
You know him?
No, only from my research on this.
Yeah, so I thought it was interesting because, and I was talking to Todd a little bit about it, about like energy and things like that, and he thinks it's a possibility, but there's different types of energy. Like there's all different types of energy. Residual energy being one that's talked about a lot on the shows, on the ghost hunting shows and things like that, but never in the idea that it's trapped in the stone around, around the building, or it's captured in the stone of the wall. Even like drywall is technically part stone, right? And then,
well, this is what I've seen about this, and I've heard. I'm trying to find what the actual term is for it, but there's a bigger theory or hypothesis or whatever you want to call it, because technically, I guess this hasn't been
place memory.
Yeah, place memory.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I mean, if I'm going to believe in one of those two things, it's going to be place memory.
Okay.
Because I'm not surrounded by stone, but I mean, I guess if you want to say like, yes, crumpled bits of stone make up, a lot of the things around us, but that's an aggregate. We'd be getting so many different. You'd be getting like one syllable from multiple different entities if it was like in your drywall, because
maybe
the drywall, one piece of drywall is many different, or whatever slate. What is that?
Sheetrock. Yeah.
I don't even. I don't know what's in drywall. I'm not gonna lie. It could be. It could be anything.
I guess you're right, but I guess it also depends on the situation. Like a person was murdered in your old apartment. I think that's and that's kind of what they base things off of too. Like a lot of times, it's these recordings are captured through traumatic events that happened on the ground or in the room around it. You had a person that was murdered, dismembered in your apartment, and then you had weird things going on, which we've talked about a lot. And then also, like you said before, right? Didn't it like occur more often around the time of said murder?
There were there was a couple different times of the year that things would get a little bit more hectic. But the difference being to me is that I wasn't dealing with an echo, like where it's the same thing every day at the same time, or because that's what, to me, something on tape, when you're talking about something being recorded down, or a whatever energy stored in this thing, and then it's on replay, you're going to keep getting the exact same stuff happening, whether it's every week, every year, every day, whatever.
But you don't necessarily know. Like it could have been a year's worth of abusive situations, and it's not like it's, what I mean, like it's replaying at the same time every single day, but it is replaying in some certain sequence. But maybe it starts on a Friday, it goes through its cycle by Wednesday, and then the next time it starts again is on a Sunday. You know what I mean?
I mean, I get what you're saying. For me, from my personal experience, that I don't think that's what happened. I'm not discounting this. I think there's different types of hauntings. I think there's different types of energies and whatnot. But
so you think more with like with place theory? It was the place that it occurred, and that's why. Did you think it was a residual energy, or did you think it was aware of your presence?
I think it was aware of my presence, because it seemed to react to the things that I tried to do. And there were a lot of things that only happened on one occasion, so it's like I was there for 4 years or something like that. All the pictures on the walls falling off at the same time, that only happened once.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it says too, though, that the rock, it's recorded onto rocks and other items and replayed under certain conditions. So the conditions had to be correct. The planets had to be aligned in order for this to play out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's one of those things where it's like when I was in a relationship, things seemed to get worse.
Mm-hmm.
And considering that person was murdered by the person they were in a relationship with,
Yeah,
that doesn't surprise me.
So the conditions could have been right. Maybe you got a little bit of both. Maybe you got some stone tape theory and place theory molded into one.
I'll buy that. I'll buy that.
All
that
right.
soft drink it goes down refreshing.
That could be our a beer that we invent. Stone place theory.
Yeah. I don't
Tastes
know if
like traumatic
this,
events.
Yeah. In researching this, I found many plays, short movies, songs called Stone Tape. I've never heard of Stone Tape theory. For how much I've looked into paranormal stuff, I guess I normally go case by case. I don't go overarching theories. So it never came up. But
we really need to break down, because in all the descriptions it says, it replays it like a VHS tape. And for those younger listeners, a VHS tape used to be this device that we would watch movies and we'd have to rewind it because it's literally on tape.
The VHS tape has two reels.
Yeah.
Okay, and a reel is, the little circle that moves when you have a load screen on that's what a reel kind of is in physical 3D.
That's a good way to describe it. That is a good way to describe it. You remember the cassette players? Oh, wait, no, you don't.
Yeah.
Let's go all the way back to reel. That's when radio was radio. So they say, they even say, your house remembers what happened inside it. And I could say in a weird sense, Rob, some strange things have happened in my house. Not in a while. But when we brought right before Jonah was born, and then when we first brought Jonah back home, some weird stuff happened. Ashton said he saw something move in his room, like a toy. He was looking at a toy and it moved. And then the dogs would bark at the kitchen when it was dark out, and we would hear things. We really would hear a lot of creaking. We would hear noise. Something would fall all the time. And I think that one time I told you the speaker was laying flat, got pushed to the side, slid down the wall. And I don't know if the event of bringing a new individual into the home sparked this condition in which now the house is replaying certain events that happened, because we're only the second owners of this house. So really, it could be downright to the stone outside, the rocks outside.
There's even an idea on this that soil is holding on to.
Okay. I mean, sorry, go ahead.
I got nothing. Go.
Oh, okay. I was talking to Todd about it because he was potentially going to be on here, but he's going to be on a future episode this month. But he's saying energy in itself influences a lot of different things. So he says when you walk into a room of 20 people, your energy influences them. He said if you come in kind of happy and excited, you change the energy, and the opposite is true. And then he just says energy never stops. It may change, but it never goes away. And then kind of things he said, as an example, fire burns wood, becomes ash, and fertilizes the soil. That energy is,
it's all transferred. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all transferred.
When you I know that there have been studies that have been done on this, and I wish I could quote them, but I'm just not that person that remembers the actual studies. But with water taking, there's people that do a lot of weird stuff with water, keeping a control in normal room temperature, a control in the darkness, and a control and it's not room temperature but room light, and then one in the sunlight and one in a dark cupboard.
Mm-hmm.
There's people, but I read on this thing where somebody yelled profanities and perversions and just anything macabre and bad at this jar of water, and then the another jar of water that was kept as a control or whatever, they did nothing to, and then another one that they said only positive things to, and the one that they said bad things to apparently got like the pH balance changed. It got kind of putrid. Like the one that the room temperature one became tepid, and then the one that they talked positive to actually like changed its pH for the better and remained clear. I wasn't there when they did this stuff, so who knows? But
well, here's the thing. Okay, so I'm looking at an article, and the last paragraph says, that means as you walk down your hallway tonight, your presence may be imprinted on the home and felt by somebody far in the future. So, Rob, right now, this could be, we could be dead, and this could be replaying right now for somebody that's sitting right next to me in the present time, sensing this presence. They're hearing this weird voice, and they're hearing the cracks of the beer, and they're like, "That's that goddamn drunk again, the drunken ghost." You ever think
the drunken ghost?
Yeah. Like they just hear like a
okay,
ghost fart.
This brings me to my point of the Packers.
Okay.
And because I thought about this and I was like, if I was going to believe in this stone tape theory,
Mm-hmm.
then I would have to assume that in, I don't know, let's be conservative and we'll say 50% of the homes across this country, on every Sunday there'd be residual screamings where it's like, what kind of call was that? And
It was a delay of game. It was a delay of game.
Because that's obviously sports are super emotional and it's on a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And people get very, that's a lot. They expound a lot of energy watching sports, especially when teams aren't doing well or they think that they're being unfairly.
And you think, and the conditions would be right because if I move out and then I'm dead, the next people that move out, they're big Packer fans. They're going to be watching the same games at the same times, Yeah,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. They're just going to hear like, oh, these Packers will never win.
But they'll
never get another Super Bowl.
But do you think it's like, kind of like I said before, so today's a Sunday, right? Obviously, this Sunday, was it October 2nd, isn't going to be, so like next year, October 2nd will be on a Monday. So is it going to happen? Is it going to replay on a Monday night football game? Or is it going to be Sunday again? That's kind of what I want to know.
Well, and that depends on if you believe in the 24-hour day, 365-day year with a leap year every 4 years schedule.
Right.
Because if you believe more in the whatever it is, 23.5-hour day, or I don't even remember the frickin' numbers anymore because there have been so many people that have been like, oh, if we had this many months instead of this many months, it'd be easier. So I don't know. Do ghosts adhere to the physical world's calendar?
I don't know.
Do they abide by the leap year? That's a good question.
So, when we're talking about residual hauntings, it represents nothing more than just a replaying of events. So it's not sinister by any means, and it could be a sinister residual energy, but it's not something that we should necessarily be afraid of, right?
I think just because it's not trying to affect us doesn't mean that it can't affect us.
It can affect us,
because I've been scratched. I've seen people get scratched and had things happen where
that's not residual then. Because residual is just a matter of replaying the event, right?
Yeah, but then you're saying that any physical thing that is affected isn't residual because it's being affected. So say your speaker sliding down the wall.
Yeah.
That can't be a residual haunting either.
You're right.
Because whatever was doing it doesn't even know what that is.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, they're.
But if it's a spirit energy that's lashing out and you happen to get in its path and that results in a scratch.
Sure. This is something maybe Todd can answer more in a future episode. We could talk the difference between residual and not residual. I think that'd be interesting. But according to what I'm reading now, you can't interact. You can't interact with it. It doesn't know you're there. This is merely like us watching a replay of the clock going down to 0 and the Patriots still don't hike the ball until 3 seconds later. The refs do nothing, and then they score a touchdown. So
Yeah.
it doesn't. The replay itself is not aware of our existence watching it, or well, and that still, I guess, isn't a good theory or a good comparison because we're aware of it, but it's not aware of us. Or I don't know. I don't know. I guess if it's residual, we have to be aware of it, right? Because we're hearing it, we're seeing the things. But what if it was like?
I think that's the thing. The awareness only goes one way.
Sure.
Because
we just can't interact with it. Like it won't answer our questions.
Yeah, and that's where when you get into like EVPs and stuff, then you're going like that can't be this stone tape theory. And I don't know if the people who came up with this idea and what's his name, Charles Montague? What was it?
Montague?
McCavitt?
Romeo and Juliet? It's something like Charles Gabbage or some shit like that. Gabbage. I don't know if he was the one that actually like came up with it, but
he's definitely a big name in the game though.
Yeah, he's part of it.
So either way, like I don't know what his full scope of this theory was, or if it was just like, oh, this is what all ghosts are, or this is what all spirits are, as opposed to him going like, this accounts for a percentage of hauntings.
Yeah, I don't think it was saying like this is the only way this could happen. Like, I think it's obviously just a theory about putting it out there. But like then you think about like the Annabelle doll, right? So the Annabelle doll is a real thing. It is a real doll that's kept in a case, and from what it sounds like, as long as it's in that case, nothing can happen. Nothing bad has happened. It's only when it's out in, you could say, perfect conditions. So maybe we're developing a new theory where it's a combination of both. It's a combination of it's attached to an item, conditions have to be correct for it to activate, but it is aware of your existence.
Yeah. With the Annabelle doll, it's interesting that glass holds her energy back because, like, stone breaks glass, doesn't it?
Yeah, sometimes, unless it's a really, like, thick glass. Modern technology these days, glass can be really, really strong.
Yeah, you get that triple pane.
Yeah, I don't know.
With that anti phantom stuff in the middle of each pane.
So do you think?
What's that stuff called?
I don't know. So you think the situation in your old apartment, it wasn't necessarily, it could have been place theory, but it was aware of your existence.
I just feel like maybe some things were place theory, like some of the things, but there was too many times where it seemed to be reactive to what I was doing, and I don't believe that the things that fall under this theory are reactive. I feel like they're more, they're just going to happen. They're on a replay, like we were talking about. That's like with your house when you're hearing creaks and stuff like that. That could be just somebody that, it's like somebody that hears there's somebody walking up and down the stairs at 3:00 every night, only to find out that 50 years ago the person had insomnia that lived in that house and walked up and down the stairs all night.
Yeah, that could be right. Or do you think that maybe you could say that you faced some trauma in your old apartment, maybe, right? To a degree.
Somewhat, yeah. I mean,
maybe your trauma.
I would say. I went through rehab in that apartment. I was dating somebody who was drinking herself to death in that apartment. There was some traumatic stuff going on there.
What a place to try to rehabilitate yourself.
Hey, but it works,
You're
sometimes all the support you need is the phantom hand that holds your
that puts you into sleep. What was it? Paralysis.
The phantom screams that lull you to sleep so you can't hear your own.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. And on a third aspect of trauma in your apartment could have been your former roommate.
Well, yeah, that's true too. I also had a aspiring prophet.
What's he up to these days?
He didn't respond to me, man. He called me a fool and
recently?
This was within the last 3 months.
Called you a fool for what?
He just said that to a mutual friend of ours. He just said, "Hey, well, have you heard from Rob? What's that fool up to?" Because he doesn't talk to me anymore.
But he
And
didn't.
I,
He
you
did.
know,
Did he mean it in like a oh, you're such a fool, like a jokey way, or was it like, oh, this guy's straight up fool?
knowing him, it meant he blocked my number, and it was serious. That's just my take on the situation. That was also our buddy's take on the situation,
Yeah.
because that's kind of how he is. He kind of like he internalizes, and instead of just reaching out and saying, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
he goes like, "Oh, you must be so you're it's you see me as the problem or something like that." I don't know.
When
And then
you
he goes and he like blocks people on Facebook and
yeah, whatever.
whatever. That's one way to live your life if you want to do it that way. But it seems like it just breeds a bunch of negative thoughts and emotions. Where it's like I reached out to him and said, "Hey, I'm sorry." I didn't even say I'm sorry. I said, "Hey, been busy moving across the country. How are things with you?" Uh,
How's the second
sorry I
coming?
didn't. Yeah, right. How's the second coming?
Yeah, that dude was wild. Did he ever comment on anything going on in the apartment?
Yeah, I mean he had things he didn't. I don't think he liked it.
Mm. Who
That
does?
he didn't like to talk about it, but
Oh, okay.
he said he had experienced a few things. I can't remember exactly what. It was stuff I kind of brushed off because it was like, oh yeah, I remember when I was when that weirded me out too.
So I can think a little bit of bringing it back to Stone tape theory. Excuse me. Growing up on this on the farm that I grew up on with my dad. Okay, it was a house that was built late 1800s, early 1900s. Pretty old house, right? Legit stone, like not like your cinder block structure.
This is cobblestone.
Yeah, big stone with the cement. It wasn't like
Yeah.
even square rectangle blocks. We had, while it was never violence or nobody ever got scratched. Nobody ever got like really interacted with, I guess. But strange things would happen all the time, such as like my sister one time we were going out to feed the animals said, I just saw a lady walking down our hallway, like an old lady walking down our hallway. The door would often shut, and there was a like at the end of the hallway, we would go into a room, the door would shut. Don't worry, somebody's taking care of the baby. I'm not neglecting it.
Oh, I thought that was coming from my walls.
What? Yeah, coming from the walls. This residual energy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it. I'm sorry. The boy's hungry. I gotta.
Something's going on with your audio over there.
What do you mean? He's just hungry.
I'm joking.
He's good.
Just joking.
But anyways,
Hungry
so
baby audio issues.
yeah, but anyways, the door would close a lot, like with no, and there was like really no way for like wind to pass through. The windows would be closed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it would open and close. Sometimes when the windows were open, the windows would shut, just go down. But you can chum that up.
Gravity.
You can chalk that up to old windows too, right?
Yeah, but we all know how I feel about gravity, so I'm gonna go. That was the spirit.
Yeah, but one time we all woke up at like 2-3 a.m. and we were all just sweating, like just dying of heat, and we look at the thermostat and it's set to 90, and nobody touched it, which is a strange thing. And a lot of times too, like the dogs would bark in the middle of the nights, and that could be a lot of different things. You live out in the country, a coyote could be walking by, a ghost could be walking through the hallway, But I think maybe that could have been a good location in which it was the stone tape theory, which is residual energy.
Yeah, just residual energy. Yeah.
But even like then, because the layout of the house never changed, so if it was a previous person that lived there, right, they're gonna know where the windows are. They're gonna know where the doors are. They're gonna go through those motions of tonight we close the window,
closing, opening, turning up the heat. And if you're a ghost, it's pretty cold, so 90 is gonna sound good to you.
Yeah, it's good. That's like a nice warm day. So,
have you ever slept in your basement?
No. Why would I?
Because it's creepy down there.
It is. I would never. I have a
Do you
bed.
drink down there? Do you do anything down there yet?
Laundry.
You've got a bar down there, and you don't.
Uh-huh. Yeah, what am I gonna do? It's not like I have people
I think
over.
you, yeah, have people over. I
Nah,
know you still got like 2 people that'll show up.
not really. But it's not like, I don't know. That's what the gazebo's for, dude. We hang out in the gazebo. The basement's creepy.
You just have double your house space that's not being used, and there's a lot of energy that could be soaked up into those walls for future use.
No, I don't need to hang out in the
I mean,
basement.
like, you think about this: when you sell this house and this house gets sold again, and 50 years, 100 years from now, like somebody's just gonna hear laundry done. That's it.
Right, right.
So you're gonna be like, "Wow, whoever lived here was a boring ass motherfucker."
They're gonna be like, "Oh, the dryer's done," but
Yeah,
it's not really done. It's just it was previous laundry from another time.
yeah,
The residual laundry is finished.
yeah. The residual laundry. I heard that residual buzzer.
No, I don't know. Like in future sense, like what people would hear here. Probably not. Maybe a dog barking.
Shut up, Phil.
they might
That's what they hear.
they might hear that, and they'll never know that it was a dog. They'll be like,
Yeah.
"This poor guy named Phil."
They'll be like, Barry, you're good though. We love you, Barry.
They just
You're
hear,
amazing, Barry. And they go,
Phil,
man, Phil probably turned into a serial killer, and
Phil, you were
Barry is probably
adopted. Don't forget that. I saved you. Yeah, they're gonna like look at the papers and like try to like find like traces of like, oh, their last name was this, but there's no Phil. They're like, what happened? What
There's
happened?
no Phil or Barry. There's no. I think this guy kidnapped these people.
It becomes like just a Netflix documentary, and then like
It totally would.
and
And
then,
they would not. They'd find out they were dogs, but they'd exclude that from the
no, like the
documentary.
last episode and like the last 30 seconds, it's like, it cuts to like a 60-year-old Madison or Ashton, and they're like, oh yeah, those are our dogs.
Yeah.
You just like you got
Oh, Phil and Barry. I haven't heard those names for
oh
50
yes,
years.
they were the best dogs ever. And then the interviewer's
Yeah.
like, dogs? Oh yeah, they named dogs after human names. It's cute, right? And they're
You
like,
just hear like the producer go, "Why didn't we interview these people first?"
and it's like, we invested millions of dollars. We gotta put it out there. We gotta take these people on a
Cut
ride.
that last 3 seconds. Leave it a mystery.
Yeah. They ended like that. That cliche cliffhanger. Will they ever
Yeah.
find them? They never know. Those
All
exist.
right. Just because we're talking about this, but have you looked into this Dahmer docu series?
Well, there's gonna be a docuseries coming out, and then but right now there's the
It's a biopic. It's a biopic.
yeah, but there's gonna be
series.
another one like it's called like the Jeffrey Dahmer tapes. That's gonna be coming out on Netflix
Yeah,
as well.
it's gonna be like the Ted Bundy tapes.
Yeah, probably. I've watched interviews of Jeffrey Dahmer before with like the real Jeffrey Dahmer. Like I think what's it fucking called, 60 seconds or 60 minutes, whatever.
60 minutes. It's 60 minutes. Yeah.
Or some
Short
like,
interview, 60 seconds worth.
yeah.
They don't put on the history.
I mean, yeah. What else do you need to know? But like, no, I watched the first episode of the TV show Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story.
Is that the one that I'm talking about that just came out?
With Evan Peters plays Jeffrey Dahmer. Yeah,
Is that the guy from American Horror Story?
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I watched the first episode. It was okay. I'll maybe continue to watch it. I feel, and I don't know if it's because I'm woke or whatever, but I feel kind of bad for the families that had to suffer through this because they weren't like consulted on it, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, great, we get to relive this, and it's trend. it is a popular show. It's interesting, and then it just gets me to thinking more like, are we part of the problem because we keep watching this, and now when this Jeffrey Dahmer tapes comes out, we're gonna watch that. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just feel like
It's only a problem if we decide it's a problem. That's the thing about humanity that we like. It's we're not out there killing people. And honestly, one of the biggest things that I saw in there was like, because I haven't seen a full episode even, but I've seen bits and pieces as my roommates are watching it. And I go, this is like a huge stain on my state's history.
right.
But it's like the way they portray like the judge the parents and like this the mentality, the Wisconsinite mentality is portrayed quite well in that show as far as I've seen.
Yeah. I guess I have
and
to
it's
watch
not good.
further.
Doesn't look good for us.
Well, Jeffrey Dahmer's dad was pretty abusive. Wasn't the greatest person either. In like, well, the one person got away, and that's how Jeffrey Dahmer got caught. That's the first episode. Tracy Williams, I think.
Yeah.
Gets away. And I watched the court hearing of his like testimony. And like later on in life, he became homeless. He threw a person off a bridge in Milwaukee, killed them. And you know that's sad too. That you know he endured all this, had this trauma. Wasn't the greatest person, but didn't deserve what happened to him. But I feel bad for the one kid that did get away, and the cops gave him back to Dahmer.
I mean,
that's true.
There's a testament to the just ludicrosity of law enforcement and our justice system in that time in Wisconsin for sure. Like I would think that the cops would have wanted that omitted.
But even in Milwaukee, the city of Milwaukee just doesn't really have the greatest history with law enforcement. I don't think. There's
no, not at all.
And just the fact that they give, I don't know. And like you said, we probably react to it differently because one, we're not far from Milwaukee. We're not far. And granted, it happened in 1991, or when he got caught. I was maybe a year old at the time, so like it didn't personally. Yeah, but it didn't like impact us. But I know people who knew Jeffrey Dahmer. I know people who went to clubs with Jeffrey Dahmer. Not like with him, but he was there and he interacted with them. But I think that it's just a different perspective for you and I. And even like with Making a Murderer, that happened in Wisconsin, that like not too far from our hometown as well. So it's like, then we got Ed Gein. We got some like.
I'm waiting for that bio drama or whatever to drop.
I mean, they've been made, but yeah, they could be. They would. That I want to see.
Yeah, but not in the Netflix style that we've all come to love.
Yeah, but I don't know. Do you think there's the Ambassador Hotel across the street from the rave? That's a place that Jeffrey Dahmer would frequent. Do you think there's some residual energy there?
I mean, there could be. I mean, and honestly, to bring it back to residual energy, one thing, like I've never been at the Ambassador.
Yeah, right.
But we can talk about the Ramada,
the Retlaw,
which has a haunted room.
Yeah.
Now, if that kind of lends itself to the fact that this residual energy thing, as opposed to a spiritual thing, because I don't think somebody would confine themselves to one room in the Ramada in the afterlife unless it was just an energy that was stuck in that room.
Well, that's where
something happened.
Didn't your brother and cousin stay there?
Yeah,
in that room. And then they woke up.
Had crazy shit happen. Yeah.
But yeah, they woke up. The light in the bathroom's on, and they're like, "What the fuck?"
Trevor saw the guy go into the closet.
The guy just walked.
Trevor woke up and saw a guy walk into the closet.
Yeah.
Walk out of the closet and walk into the bathroom.
And he was just wasted.
And well, Trevor thought that he was seeing, like he's like, "Oh, this is fucking crazy."
Yeah.
And so he woke Jim up. And he's like, "Dude, there's somebody in that."
It was some drunk guy.
Yeah, and then like they go and knock on the door, and the dude's in there taking a shit. Like, but their door was double bolt locked, and the guy said his room was on the second floor, which any true Fond du Lacian knows. The Ramada doesn't have rooms on the second floor. That's where the banquet hall is.
Right. That's where I got buried. Man, that's funny.
Yeah, but they've got video of the chair just spinning in that room.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like it's just like a chair kind of like
post guy taking a shit.
Yeah, this is this is pre. It was during the day. It was like at 5 or 6 in the afternoon.
What would you?
Same room though.
What would you do if that was the ghost taking a dump?
Do phantom shits have phantom smells? I don't know.
Well, have you ever heard of that? That's like a thing, like a phantom shit, right? Like when you.
That's somebody that doesn't want to admit they forgot to flush the toilet. That's when a phantom shit is.
That's when like if phantom, when you poop and then you get up and it's not there. You know what I mean?
I have not heard of this phenomenon.
You've never heard of that? Like, it sinks like down, it just goes through. And it sinks.
Is that what happens?
Yeah,
It's so dense.
It just
doesn't need to be.
right. It just sinks and it goes past the point of visual, so it's a phantom shit. You pooped, but it's not there.
See, I just assumed if I've had that happen, I guess maybe, but I just assumed it was just air that came out.
I had so when I lived in the same apartment complex as your former haunted one,
yes,
and I'm not kidding, there was 2 occurrences like pretty close to each other in which I came home and there was like a hot pile of poo in the toilet, not flushed. And
that's a true phantom shit to me.
Yeah, legit. Like it was. And I was like, who did that? I was like, it wasn't me. I know for a fact it wasn't me. I went to work at like 5 a.m. and didn't go.
How'd you know it's hot? I'm interested.
Huh? Well, I just just for visual effect.
Yeah.
People taking the words and creating an image. It was hot steaming pile of poo in the toilet.
See, I forget that people can only hear this. They can't see the Polaroid you just showed me.
Right. Yeah. But it happened twice, and I was just like, well, how's this happening?
Can I lend a theory?
Yes.
As a maintenance man of the apartment building, where we have access to keys to all the apartments, I think a maintenance man knew when you worked.
Yeah, twice though.
I think he had a grudge against you for some reason.
It's like a grudge, but not to the point where it's like, I'm not going to be vulgar here. I'm going to leave it in the toilet, and all he has to do is flush.
It's not a double decker. It's a top decker, or
upper decker, or it's not like in the sink. It's like
yeah, it's just this is a mild inconvenience.
Yeah. He parked in my spot one time, and I'm not about it. So yeah, that's very possible. Maybe that could be a Strange Brew episode, like Phantom Poops.
Yeah, right. Because here we both had completely different definitions.
Yeah. I mean, I've had both experiences. One where I knew I took one and it wasn't there, and one that was there and I don't know how it got there.
That's a wide ranging spectrum.
Yeah. Just like hauntings altogether. Some are residual, some are aware, some are demonic. It's a strange world we live in. It's a crazy world, but it sounds like my wife needs some help with the baby. He's sad, probably tired. Right. So, we're gonna cut this one off. I think a good episode, a good way to kick off Strange Brew Month.
This is a good topic.
I think I'll try to find some more stuff to talk about. We'll get...
You ever get emails from people that say, "Hey, talk about this thing"?
No, not really. I mean,
no one listens this far in the show, but they should email.
Yeah, dudes on a porch at Gmail. But no, we'll have Todd on. We'll talk to Todd, and maybe his podcast partner Sandy about. I'd be interested to hear their takes about types of energy. So last year we talked to Todd about types of paranormal equipment. I think learning more about from a professional residual, maybe demonic, maybe not residual. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it'd be kind of interesting. And how you interact with that. How do you handle that? Because they've had multiple encounters of various types. So yeah, I think that'd be a cool thing to do.
I'm down for it.
So we'll get that going. Maybe we'll do if the wife and I get a time, maybe we'll do a honeymoon is horror episode. It's been a minute since we've done that. I mean, you can do that with us too if you wanted to. You just have to watch horror. You have to watch a horror movie.
I've actually watched quite a few horror movies. I kind of went down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, what'd you watch?
Nothing recently though.
All right. Yeah, there
was just when I moved out here. I feel like it was when I moved out here. I went down the old horror movies. Yeah. Black Christmas.
Yeah, I was just.
What's the one that takes place at the Fun House? Is it called the Fun House?
I don't know.
With the really iconic, double-faced creature.
I don't know. I'll have to look into that. I just watched Us with Madison not that long ago. That was a good movie.
What's Us?
It's Jordan Peele. It's
Okay.
a movie by him, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I don't know how to
I'll have to
explain.
look into it.
It's like essentially like a family is tormented by themselves.
Oh, okay.
Like literally, like they're looking at themselves and they're coming at them, more or less.
Okay.
So there's obviously
Let's check it
context,
out.
but I don't want to give it away.
I mean, I'm not opposed to horror movies. It's just not my go-to necessarily, especially not like Halloween and stuff like that. I know that those are I'm not a slasher film guy.
The new Halloween movie comes out soon. I'm excited about it. Halloween Ends. It's gonna be good, real good.
Yeah, I see the little billboards they got all over the place.
Yeah,
out
I
here.
bet you do. It'll be sweet. But no, we have HBO Max now, or access
What
to
about
HBO.
Hocus Pocus 2? Does that count?
Hell no.
We're back, witches.
My kid's watching that movie
That's
right now.
that's
He's
their
watching it.
That's their tagline on that movie. I don't like it.
Yeah, I know, it's stupid. It didn't need a sequel. The first one's bad enough.
Whoa.
The
It's a
first
classic.
No, it's not. It sucks.
It's the only thing tolerable that Sarah Jessica
No.
Parker has ever made.
It's not good. And it's nothing but nostalgia now. People like pretend to like it, but they don't. They don't like it. But they're not going to admit that, because that's the thing. Everybody loves Hocus Pocus. Everyone's a Hocus Pocus fan. The shit has never been good, and it never will.
I've watched it in my adult life. I've watched it.
It's not good.
It's not
stupid.
What's stupid about it? Where does it go wrong?
It's just a dumbass movie. It's not.
I know we don't have time to get into Hocus Pocus, I guess, but
it doesn't live up to the hype. It just doesn't. And it didn't warrant.
Didn't live up to the hype. The hype was created out of it living up.
Fair enough, I guess, but it didn't warrant a sequel. 20-some years later?
I agree with you there.
But
all right. Did you drink your beer? Is it good?
Yeah, it's good. I'm not the world's biggest stout fan by any means. This is good though. It had like a good coffee taste to it, but not like overpowering. So it's drinkable. I got 3 more. Who knows when I'm gonna have those? But I guess drink it. I haven't finished it, but I will. What about you?
I don't know. Yeah, the Dankster I drank, but I switched back to my Dino Baby Hazy that's on tap over there. That's really good.
Yeah.
I think it's Modern Times that does that.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a little bit. It was by definition it was dank. It had bitterness to it that I didn't really. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't. I wouldn't reach for it.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, there it is.
Yeah, hopefully we can record in a week.
Yeah. Hopefully we can record and talk about a new topic. A new topic that is free of personal information.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we did give it a little personal about the apartment.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's not.
Okay.
That was real.